Howdy there. So a couple days ago, I got to see The Grey, and I really enjoyed it. I'm giving it a solid 8. Very good watch. The Grey is about a team of oil men, prospectors, I guess, of various employment titles in the wilderness of Alaska. And Liam Neeson, the star of the picture, is a hunter, and he's paid to protect the men while they're working, diligently on their task. They are always subject to being prey, whether it be wolves or bears or what have you. So it's Liam Neeson's job to be a sniper. While the men are working, he's got his eye on the horizon and watching for animals to kill. Anyway, so they go home, I guess, or on leave, what have you, and their plane crashes. And it's the story of the survival of the surviving people on the plane. I guess there's about 8 to 10 of them, and they fight the elements and the animals and the elements. Basically the wilderness, and they try to survive, doing the best they can. I enjoyed this film because, one, Joe Carnahan directed it. Joe Carnahan, well, here's the thing with Joe Carnahan. He made Narc. That was, I don't know if it was his debut, but that was his breakthrough. And Narc was awesome. Narc is an awesome film. If you've never seen Narc and you like cop movies, definitely see Narc. So then he made Narc, and it was like, wow, who is this guy? Like, I remember distinctly going to watch Narc, and just being kind of, like, amazed by it. Then he had to make Smoking Aces. Now, maybe you enjoy Smoking Aces, but I think I've only seen it the one time. I could not stand it. In my year-end wrap-up, I put Smoking Aces as the worst film of its year. I really did not like that film. I found it loud, obnoxious, ignorant, whatever. I hated that movie. And it was done by Joe Carnahan, and I thought, what a bummer. And I can't remember if he made a film in between, but I thought, how just terrible to follow up Narc with Smoking Aces. He also did The A-Team, which I'm kind of indifferent to. I mean, it's popcorn entertainment. It's certainly not going to win any awards. It's not high art by any means, but it was fun and action-packed. And it's where he met Liam Neeson, and, now they got to make The Grey together. I think The Grey is maybe his best film, definitely his best film since Narc. I don't know if it's better than Narc. I would have to watch Narc again. But this has a potential to be his best film. It was directed by him, and written by him and one other guy. And that one other guy also wrote the short story that the film is based on. So the creator, the novelist who wrote the story, is also a co-writer on the screenplay. So I thought that was super. And I also believe that both Joe Carnahan and the writer were producers on the film. As well, another producer was Tony and Ridley Scott. So it comes down to, Tony and Ridley Scott, who are, the Scott brothers. Their name speaks for itself. And then you've got the writer and you've got the director all wanting to make this film. So it was focused. It had something to say, which is enjoyable. You don't see too many, action movies, guy pictures with actually a moral, something to say. Stars, okay, all the acting is really good. Stars Liam Neeson. The only other name I know is Delmert Mulroney. Delmert Mulroney. He's in there. And there's several other people. They all do a really good job. You know, again, this is a story about survivors, so they're all at their wits' end. They're all just a slight shove away from insanity. So all the acting is intense. You know, the movie is intense. And all the actors pretty much step up to that game. They all have their little moments. They all get to tell their stories. You know, when... You know, there's not much there sometimes. You know, the stories are very slight, but the actors really make up for it. You know, when you share a story, you're probably not all going to give all the details, but yet the camera lingers on the face. The eyes do their work, and you can tell that these men are, you know, thinking, you know, putting themselves in their happiest memories. So I think the acting really, if there is a lack of detail in the writing, the actors really fill that in. But yeah, all the acting is really good. I guess the other star of the show is the wolves. You know, that's the main problem with that they encounter are wolves. They don't even get a chance to freeze to death because they have to defend themselves from being eaten at every turn. And really, it's like persistent. They are stalked throughout the entire film. And the wolves are really cool. They're done with a combination of CGI. That's the only, you know, time that I, like, winced. Was sometimes I thought that, you know, it was obviously a cartoon chasing after them. I was like, you know, because it was a cartoon. But they also have, you know, robotic wolves. They also have puppet wolves, men in wolves' suits. And when it focuses down, when it comes down to it, the wolves look really good. It's like when they're full body and wanting to show motion and they switch to the CGI, it's like, you know, I wish they could have done more animatronics at least. Just because when they did, it looked really good. My only beef with the film, really, it gives you a full hint of all the story. All the story is there. For a while, I was like, I wanted a lot more motivation from Liam Neeson. I wanted to see what his character kind of was about, and they really kept that hidden a lot until towards the end. We get to see his past, why he keeps going back mentally to his wife and to his father. And that kind of wraps up at the end. So it's like while I was watching it, what I was complaining about, not complaining, but wondering about, was eventually answered. I guess then my only beef would be, you know, some of the some of the action scenes. You know, it's very chaotic. Again, I thought it fit in with the story nicely because it's in a chaotic situation. And a chaotic incident, but when the wolves attack, even in the plane crash, it's like tough to figure out what's going on. And again, if you were in a plane crash, it would probably be hella hard to figure out what is going on. But, and as well, if you're being attacked by a group of wolves, you're probably going to be really confused. So that, I'm just saying that when, like, attacks were happening, I got confused sometimes, and I'm like, well, you know, what's going on? What are they biting, or are they killing him? What are they just barking? What's going on? But again, it kind of fit, though it was like, God, what's going on? And the movements become so erratic, and you know, it's just like the camera is just shaking, and if you're susceptible to it, I can see how you could get dizzy watching this film, because it's just the movement becomes chaotic and it comes out of nowhere. the film looks really good. This takes place in the wilderness of Alaska. You get to see some just gorgeous scenery, beautiful mountains, rivers, trees, just absolute gorgeosity. I really enjoyed the message. It has a message that makes you think, a brave message, and I don't really want to talk about it, just because I'd like you to experience it on your own. But it has a very, it doesn't really attack faith, but it gives voice to an opinion, to a minority opinion about destiny and fate and the afterlife, and why we should be grateful we are here now and living. That's what it's all about. It's not about, the afterlife. And I think that's a bold message to have, especially in this day and age. And it's, and for it to be a blockbuster, #1 movie in the country. And you've got, your main character yelling at God and, in essence telling him to go fuck itself. So that's, kind of ballsy. So props for that. Gorgeously shot, well acted, well directed, good story. I just had a great time. I walked out of the film thinking that, I was ready to take on anything. If whatever comes around the corner, I'm ready for it. If Liam Neeson can go up against the wolves, then I can too. And again, I don't want to talk about the ending. The ending was great. I think the film, I just think the film is really honest. I think it has a lot of truth in it. And maybe it's not truth that a lot of people would like or enjoy, but I think it has a good message and an honest one at that. I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. And I think Liam Neeson's on this roll now. So good for him. I mean, he definitely deserves it. But he, of course, carries the picture. I don't really know what else to say. I had a really good time watching the film. I'll definitely watch it again someday. I'll definitely rent it and enjoy it. So that's The Gray. Solid 8. Really good time. Thank you.